Hi everyone, it's Miss Mold again. I'm going to go over page 206 and 207 in your math journal. So these are the journal pages for more practice on the partial quotient division strategy. As always, if you did not complete the page, try pausing the video, doing it yourself, and then playing it to see what errors you made. I know this lesson is super difficult, but you guys have all been doing such a phenomenal job. So keep practicing. The more you practice, the easier it'll become. Okay? And like all of your teachers have said, just leave a comment below if you're really stuck and we can try to help you out. All right, let's read our directions. It says estimate. Write a number model to represent the problem. Then use partial quotient to solve. So I know some of you know how to do traditional long division. That's not what they're asking for here. They want you to solve using partial quotient. That is the strategy they want you to use. Okay, let's get started. Let's do orange. All right, number one. Let's make it a little bigger. There are 184 plants to put into pots. Each pot can hold 8 plants. How many pots are needed? Okay, so I always like to write the number model with the unknown first and then do my estimate second. But that's just me. If you want to do your estimate first, go for it. So I know that if there's 184 plants and 8 plants can go in each pot, so I know I have to make equal groups of 8, and that will give me how many pots I need for 184 plants. Okay, because remember, this number here is how much you have altogether, 184 plants. And then this 8 represents how many in a group. So for every one pot, there's 8 plants. So we know we need to be making groups of 8. All right, so 184 is close to 200. And 8 is close to 10. So 200 divided by 10 equals 20. I think we're going to have about 20 pots for those 184. All right, so now it's asking us to solve using that partial quotient strategy. So I'm going to switch my color to black, and I'm going to do 8 divided by 184. Okay, and I'm going to draw my bar down here to help me solve. Okay, can I take out 10 groups of 8? Remember, we just did this in the last lesson. Oh, I put the brackets wrong on the wrong number. If I did 10 groups of 8, well, I know that 10 times 8 is 80. Okay, I definitely can, but I could actually probably take out 20. Let's see if I can make 20 groups of 8. Well, 20 times 8 is 160. That's closer to 184, so I'm going to go with 20. So I'm going to make 20 groups of 8, and that's going to give me 160. And if I subtract 184 from 160, I get 24. And I know that 8 times 3 is 24. So I can make another 3 groups of 8. I can make another 3 groups of 8 because 8 times 3 is 24. And that's great. And I have no remainder, nothing left over. And if I add these together, I get 23. So my answer is about 23 pots. Not about, I'm sorry, exactly 23 pots. If I had 184 plants and I needed to put 8 plants in each pot, I would need 23 pots, and I would have 0 plants left over. I would have no plants left over. Okay, let's go to our next problem. Carpenters are installing hinges, and if you don't know what a hinge is, it's, think of a door, the part that connects the door to the wall that makes it swing back and forth, that's a hinge. So carpenters are installing hinges. They have 371 screws, and each hinge needs 3 screws. So for every hinge, I need 3 screws, and I have 372 in total. How many hinges can they install? So I'm going to do my number model first. 371 divided by 3 equals H, how many hinges I need. So I'm trying to think of multiples of 3, and I know that 371 is kind of close to 360, and I know that's 360 divided by 3 is 120, because 36 divided by 3 is 120. Okay, so now let's solve. If I have 3 divided by 371, I know, probably without looking, that I could take out 100. So if I took out 100, if I made 100 groups of 3, 100 groups of 3, so I tried to make 100 hinges with 3 screws, I would be using 300 of those screws. So now I'm left with 71. Now I'm going to try to think of a multiple that would get me close to that 71. So I'm going to take out 20 groups of 3. If I take out 20 groups of 3, 20 times 3 is 60. So now I'm left with 11. And I have to think to myself, what is a multiple of 3 that'll get me close to 11? And I know that 3 times 5 is too much. That'll give me 15. 3 times 4 is 12. That'll still give me 12. That's still too much. I only have 11. And then 3 times 3 is 9. So that's probably as close as I'm going to get. So if I take out another 3 groups of 3, I'm using 9 screws. If I make 3 more hinges. And I'm left with 2. Can I make another hinge? No, I only have 2 screws left, and I need 3 to make another complete hinge. So right away, I know that I'm going to have a remainder of 2. I'm gonna have 2 screws left over that we're just not gonna use. So let's see how many hinges we can make using 372 screws. 100 plus 20 plus 3 is 123. So I can make 123 hinges, and I know that I have 2 screws left over. So this says draw a rectangle and divide it into parts to represent your answer to problem 2. We kind of already done it here, so we would just repeat that same step. So I would put the 3 at the top. If I took out 100 times 3 equals 300. And then I made 20 groups of 3 and got 60. And then I made 3 groups of 3 and got 9. Now I know this isn't equal because I still have left over 2. So I have 120, remainder 2. All right, let's go on to the next page. We're going to be doing the same thing, except now we're using 4-digit numbers. We're dividing 4-digit numbers by a 1-digit number. Okay, I'm only going to be doing 4 and 5. So let's look at number 4. A waiter distributed 1,325 drinking straws evenly among 9 dispensers. How many straws went into each dispenser? So let's estimate, okay? I can probably round 1,325 to 1,300, and I know 9 is close to 10. And 1,300 divided by 10 is 130. So I think we're going to have about 130 straws in each dispenser. So my number model would be 1,325 divided by 9 equals S for how many straws. All right, we are going to solve this using partial quotient. So here we go. 9 divided by 1,325. Okay, I know that 9 times 200 would be too big. Okay, it would be too big. It would give me 1,800. That's too big. So let's take out 100 groups of 9, which would give me 900. Okay, so I'm going to do my bar. I'm going to take out 100, and I'm going to subtract 900, because if I make 100 groups of 9, I'm using 900 straws. Okay, and I got 425. Now I'm going to make 40 groups of 9. And that will give me, because I know 4 times 9 is 36, and so 40 times 9 is 360. So now I took out 40 groups of 9, which uses 360 straws. And I'm left with 65. And I know my multiplication facts, and I know that 9 times 7 is 63. And that's going to get me closest to that 65, because 9 times 8 would be too much, and 9 times 6 would be too little. So you kind of have to figure out how close you can get. So if I took out another 7 group of 9 straws, I'd be using 63 straws, and I'd be left with 2 straws. Now I know 9 is bigger than 2, so I cannot make another group because it has to be even. So you would add this up, and you would get 147 with 2 straws left over, because there is a 2 here. 2 straws left over. All right, let's move to number 5. The local movie theater sold $2,496 worth of tickets on Friday night. Each ticket cost $8. So I'm going to highlight my important information. How many tickets were sold? Okay. So my number model would be 2,496 divided by 8, because that's how much each ticket costs, and that will give me how many tickets were sold. How many tickets were sold? All right, let's estimate. Oops, sorry guys. So I am going to estimate, I know 2,496 is close to 2,500, and I know that 8 is close to 10, which would give me about 250 tickets were sold at the movie theater. Let me erase this so it doesn't get in our way. All right, so now we're going to use our partial quotient strategy, and I'm going to do 8 and 2,496. So now I have to think to myself, can I take out 100 groups of 8? I can, because that gives me 800, right? 100 eighths is 800. Let me make my pen a little smaller. Can I take out 200 eighths? Well, 8 times 2 is 16, and 2 zeros, so 1,600. I can definitely do that because that's less than 2,496. Let's see if I could take out 300 eighths. Well, 8 times 3 is 24. So 300 times 8 is 2,400. And that's pretty close. That's pretty close. So we're going to go with 300 eighths. So I'm going to take out 2,400 because I took out 300 groups of 8. And I'm left with 96. And I know that 8 times 10 is 80. That's pretty close to 96. And I'm left with 16. And I know that 2 times 8 is 16. And I have no remainder, no money left over. Now I have to add these up. So 300 plus 10 plus 2 is 312. So my answer is they sold 312 tickets for the movie theater, and there were $0 left over. There was no money left over because they sold, it was even. All right, if you have any questions at all, leave a comment or contact your teacher. I know this was really challenging, guys, but please try to stick with us as best as possible. And the more you practice this strategy, the easier it will be. And if you're having a little bit of difficulty, take this time at home to practice your math facts. You can make games. You can have your brothers or sisters quiz you. You can look online. There's a ton of multiplication resources. So once you get down those foundational skills, this will become a lot easier. All right, see you guys tomorrow. Bye.